All right, welcome back to another video. My Tom Films Project Integra. Today we're going to answer the question, can you make any Integra into a Type R? But before we get into that, I just want to let you guys know, on July 25th, I'm going to be selling shirts and stickers on my website, mytonfilms.bigcartel.com. It's going to be a pre-order, and you have 2 weeks to order everything in the shop. And if you order a t-shirt, you get a sticker too with it. Just going to let you guys know that. Back to the video. Alright, so I made a video a couple days ago about the Type R and why it's spiking up in price. And a lot of people in the comments section were saying, you know, hey, for $12,000 I can turn my LS into a Type R, you know? And I hear this time and time again, not only from my videos, but in person. And I figured I'd make a video to address it a little bit on why I think that that's not possible. So Honda has used the same chassis, but basically reinforced it in a way that makes it feel like a completely different chassis. That's why it's so desirable to have, and that's why it's so hard to find now, because they designed it in a way to make it handle differently than, you know, say an LS, an RS, GS, or GSR. So I'd break it down a little bit for you guys in this video. If you don't know already, if you do, good. But if you don't, we're going to talk about it a little bit. Okay, here we go. So most of you should already know this. The engine, completely different. B18 C5, we've talked about this before on my channel, not going to go over it again. They also redesigned the ABS. Here's where stuff gets a little interesting. Everything else is pretty much the same on the Integra. You know, there's no sunroof. The wheels are 5-lug. Let's see, what else is different on a Type R? The gauge cluster is different, the shifter's different, the seats are different. All that stuff's kind of different, but it doesn't really play into how the performance of the car is different. So I'm going to break it down and read something kind of boring, I'm sorry, but it's the only way I can say it and have you guys understand it, and it'll make sense, because I don't really make sense a lot. The Type R body structure provides a strong, rigid platform to ensure a long, durable service life, create a stable base for suspension, and to provide carefully designed front and rear crumple zones to minimize cabin intrusion in a collision. They also say the ultimate focus for the Type R was to minimize weight while enhancing the rigidity of the body structure. So they just said it right there. Hey, you know, we reinforced the chassis a little bit, and people usually think, oh, well, what they mean by reinforce the chassis is just put some strut bars over there and then boom, done. You know, not quite. That's partially what they did, but they kind of, you know, dove a little deeper and did some stuff I didn't even know was, you know, possible. So a lot of this stuff that they have here on this diagram you're looking at right now is really hard to say, like the rear roof rail upper, the rear pillar upper girder. That's a tongue twister. I hate saying that. They increased the rear wheelhouse thickness. They thickened the rear damper gusset, whatever that is. Don't know what it is. The rear wheel arch extension, they thickened that. They added a performance rod to the cross member. They thickened up the lower arm bracket. They did a lot of stuff. You'll also see that they added a rear performance rod, and you can add that to your car too, but the way that the Honda Integra Type R or the Acura Integra Type R was designed was so that when you add that performance rod, it connects both parts to the chassis that are already, you know, kind of welded together. So if you look on your car, you're going to have a space for it, but it's not going to have like threads and like a rod or something connecting to, you know, the rest of the car. So it kind of renders the performance rod in your car useless unless you somehow manage a way to copy what they did. So if you also look, most of the stuff I listed is around the lower portion of the car, and it's all kind of pushed into the rear. Part of that makes me think that they did this purposefully to push most of the mass of the vehicle in the rear and at the bottom, so that the car has a lower center of gravity and has better handling. And what do you know? It does. So everything I just listed is kind of why the Integra Type R handles a little different than, say, an LS or a GSR. And they also say it right down here. Center of gravity. A large percentage of the vehicle mass is near the center of the vehicle for enhanced transient response and handling. So that just lets you know right there, they did it because they want the car to feel better. They also added a larger rear sway bar, which I know a lot of you guys already know already. And if you watch those best motoring videos, these guys are saying, this car really doesn't feel like a front wheel drive car, because it has a large sway bar and it has all this modification done to the rear. So that's probably why this car was dominating when it first came out, because it was just, I think, ahead of its time. So that's really the video. I mean, that's really what makes the Integra Type R so different than the other chassis. If you want to add anything, by all means, go ahead, because I'm sure there's a lot more to add. Oh, need to mention one more thing. So they did something with the rear wheel bearings. They increased them by like 10 millimeters to increase rear stability a little bit, I guess to compensate the sway bar. But I also read that, and that was kind of interesting. So if you find anything else other than that, add it down to the comment section, and everybody else will know about it. So I will see you guys in the next one.